about seeing you jump in the car.
Wake up from your snooze, come get with the crew. You know who it is, what we do. It's the crew.
Okay, coming out the gate.
Oh yeah, it's the crew. Yeah, oh yeah. It's the crew. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Stop the snooze, join the crew. We got news, we got tunes. We gon' hit you with the truth. We ain't like the mother dudes.
This is really good tea.
Shout the glory to Jesus, cause of him we making moves. Oh yeah, we done found our groove. You can come get with it too. It's the crew.
Yo, what's good, Crew Nation? We're actually here this time.
Let's go. Right.
Yo, man, so happy for y'all to be joining us today in the building, baby. It's your boy, Jay.
And this is Chris.
And today we have none other than the Christian hip-hop superstar himself, George.Rose. What's good, family?
Yo, this is a long time coming. I've been rocking with y'all from the jump. Man, like me and wifey, we lit when we found out that I was going to be on y'all show today. Wifey was lit. She rocks with y'all heavy. We've been like, when I tell y'all we've been rocking with y'all since the start. We've been rocking with y'all since the start. So
man, that is love. That is love, man. For real, I'm so happy that you decided to be with us today, man. You've been around, man. We've seen your face on a lot of different places, man. Your sound is making its way around this Christian hip hop space, man. And I think that it is well deserved, a lot of the notoriety that you are in fact receiving. So why don't we just start there, man? As you're making a splash, kind of when was it that you received that kind of feeling that you were like, okay, Christian hip hop or music in general is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Man, so a lot of people don't know this about me. They think that I just started in Christian hip hop, but I've actually been doing it for a while. Like I was in the mainstream before I came to Christian hip hop. Like I had before I left the mainstream, I had a record going to Cardi B. I was getting ready to work with Trippie Red. And so, I was signed to two brothers named Playing Skills. They got Grammys. You know that song Riding Dirty by Chameleonaire?
Yeah, Chameleon.
They produced that song, and I was signed to them. And so I learned the industry, but throughout that whole time, man, I was addicted to drugs, and I left it. And then, God had me leave. I left it behind, and then he had me come back, Christian hip hop.
So are you from that Texas area, or?
So I was born in St. Louis, but I grew up in Dallas.
Okay.
And now,
The only reason why I asked that is because, first of all, you talk about riding dirty. I mean, Chameleonaire is a Texas legend, first and foremost. That whole Dirty South era was slept on. To me, it was slept on. See, we're in Oklahoma, so we got all of that. Chameleon, Mike Jones.
We right there, DeRoe. I was with DeRoe like every day. Bro. So. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. But I think that's so fire. So this actually makes sense as to why your production is the way that it was, because you were really moving around in these circles, right?
Yeah, man. I learned a lot. God allowed me to be in these circles and really learning how the music industry works. I think that's what happens in Christian hip hop, and it's not our fault. A lot of times we have to learn the hard way, but God gave me the opportunity to take what I learned there and bring it home. And, I do my best to all the people that I work with.
I know that song. I know that song.
Hey,
Bring it home. I know that song. I know that one.
I remember we sleeping on floors. Gotta bring it home like a running back. Gotta straight smooth like an old school Cadillac. This shit incredibles. Gotta bring the fire like Jack. Gotta keep it fly like a jetpack. You can never stop me. Woo, these guys playing. You can never pop me. True, no option. Gonna keep moving. No, it's like the wind on the ocean. My God, was shot for me just like some lotion.
Hey, bro, I didn't even know I was doing that.
I see you. Okay.
It's real clever. Put it in there. Hey, man, we gotta put that as a plug on them. Bring it home.
I'm gonna go ahead and play that one. After we edit, I'm gonna just go ahead and plug that in right there. I got you. you, bro.
I can't wait to tell you the story on that song, man, on how that came about. But yeah, man, I'm just happy to be a Christian hip hop artist. I'm happy to be able to bring what I learned here to all of like my people that I work. Eric Nelson, you know, that's my guy.
He nice. Yeah, he nice.
You know, I've been working with Eric for about 3 years. He's been in artist development with me. He was signed to me, but he's part of my squad, the lifestyle, you know. And so to see him elevating right now is amazing, you know, to see him, you know, going crazy. So yeah, man, it feels good in CHH, dog.
So talk about the transition of being actually introduced to Christian hip hop, and starting to get your feet wet in that. How did that come to be?
Man, I love this. So it's all because of Dayton. Dayton is he's more than a brother to me. He's my OG. And any interview that I give I always give Dayton his flowers. I ran into Dayton when I was on the mainstream side, but I didn't know a lot about. I'm a pastor's kid, so I grew up in, you know, but I didn't know a lot about Christian hip hop. I just knew like Lecrae, Trippie. I knew Reach.
That's how it goes.
I wasn't really. I knew Bizzle, and then so Dayton reached out to a guy who was on my team. And he wanted to work. I was sending Dayton records, but nothing worked. But it was God's timing. So when I left, the Lord had me come back, but Dayton sparked it. Dayton reached back out, and basically me and Dayton locked in, and I made his Hell in the Hallway album. That was the first. Was it Dream? It was the one with him and Bumps. And but I landed that, and because of that placement, it made me fly through doors like bing, 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 bing. It helped me to bypass a lot. And so but yeah, that's how I made that transition. Dayton, we locked in, and from there it was on.
So was it, so when you did that, was it like you said, you're a pastor's kid, but you had found your way to the mainstream side. Was it something where, you know, I don't know, you was at your bedside, and then, you know, the ghost of Christmas past came and was like, you can, you know, this is what it'll be if you go this way. Or this is, you know what I mean? How did that happen, bro?
It was like, because when I tell you I walked away from music completely, me and my wife got into, you know, to children's ministry, became the children's director at my church out there. And I was willing to let everything go. Like, God, you know, and Dayton reached out, and it sparked, and it was like, and God was like, I want you to go back, but I want you to go back Christian hip hop. Wow. I was like, okay. And from there, I didn't do nothing. God just did the doors. He's been ping, 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 ping. He's just been, you know, so it was easy, man. I'm not saying it was hard. It was easy.
No, talk about it. No, but for real, be real. Yeah.
God did it. When you let something die and you truly let it die and God gives it back to you, it's a wrap. There's nothing no one can do against you. There's nothing. No one can stop you but yourself.
Yeah. So at this point, were you just solely content in producing? Did a thought in your head ever occur to try and be an artist and kind of, you know, play with making your own music?
Yeah. So I was always, when I was in the mainstream, what I would do was I was known as the producer, but I would do hooks. And so what I would do, I would use my production to get in the door. Like, I got a song. Y'all remember Kid? He was signed to Young Money. Kid. Oh, he was signed.
Did he make Bedrock? Did he make the Bedrock track?
I think Kid was on there. He was signed to 50 Cent too, G Unit.
That's his problem right there.
Kid. And so I was linking up with him. I have actually should be on the internet. It was the old George, but I have a song with him out.
Okay,
what was the question again, man? I got right now started going back to the old days. Y'all got me reminiscing.
So you still on track. Basically, I was just asking at the point that you had kind of started out with Dayton Were you just content with just producing?
Oh,
or were you like playing around with your own stuff at that point?
So at the time, I was always creating my songs. And so what I would do is I would produce for people and then send them hooks. And they'd be like, who is this on hook? I'd be like, oh, it's me. And they'd be like, what? And then that would kind of, that's what I would do. It's kind of like not a tactic, but it's like, I want to give you something of value first. And then once you do that, I'll say, hey, this is what I do. And 9 times out of 10, I would try to write it for them or write it for other artists, but they would want to keep me on the song.
Yeah.
And but I had always been working on my stuff, but just waiting the right time.
So that's the reason why I'm happy that you brought that up, that both of y'all brought that up, because that was my thing. By the time that you became who you are now, the George.Rose that you are now, that everyone knows, the Rapzilla freshman, making it on top of Reach Records playlist, all of that, you had then showcased literally all of your talents. Most people come in and like, yo, I can do this, I'll do that. And then whenever God see fit or whenever I can put in my other talents, I do that. But to me, it didn't seem like that was you. You came out swinging with the vocals, with the bars, with the production. Like that was good. Do you direct videos too?
I help with the ideas, but like Ray Knowledge, y'all know Ray?
He's a beast. Yeah. He's a beast.
Ray helped take my career to the next. With Heaven's Side was the first thing me and him worked on. And then my other guy, Taylor Graves, Fallback Film, who I work with as well. So we'll always put our heads together as far as like kind of like ideas. But yeah, when I work with Ray, I just say Ray, please, just do you.
No, Ray is dope, man. I've seen a lot of his work, man. He is, he crazy with it, for real. Yeah. Shouts out to Ray Knowledge, But then he's good at his music too. Like this is something different that I see now with this generation is where you guys are showcasing all of your talents immediately. Back to my point, rather than waiting to see kind of have things, transpire. So you think about somebody like Belief, who was an excellent artist. You know what I'm saying? But he's got these ideas with shows and for commercials and for filming. You think about somebody like Ruslan, excellent artist. But the way that he's been able to capture that YouTube space, but this all happened when they decided to do a career flip rather than in the midst of their, musical journey. So that's wild, man.
It's today, like you have to show I struggle with sharing with what I'm doing. I'm not gonna say I hate it, but I got my team of people, you pretty much have to force me, to show what I'm doing, because I'm in a weird bracket. I come from the Michael Jacksons. I come in, where it was like a secret, like. And sometimes I feel like with where we're at, it's like, where's the secretness? Where is the but everybody wants it now. They want it all, And so Miles has helped me, has pushed me in that direction. That's a whole nother, we can get it, with me and Miles.
That was gonna lead me into my next question. Talk about that link up, because I heard in the interview that you kind of approached him in the wanting to serve him. Kind of expand on that, because that kind of sounds like what you started off doing, and then we'll get into your individual career. But talk about wanting to serve Miles Minnick, and just expand on that.
Of course, you want to get to the top, serve somebody. You want to be a great pastor one day, serve somebody. Mike Todd served at his church and then was given to him. What I'm saying? So when I met I remember I saw Miles on Instagram and I was like, man, this dude is dope. I would like to, get in on his production. I remember I reached out to him and we kind of had like an interaction on Instagram, but nothing happened. But the first time we really linked up, it was at the Rapzilla showcase. It was like 2019 or I think it was 2019. And Double ATL, y'all know Double ATL?
Yep.
He's the reason why he's my guy. He's the guy who brought me. But I remember we were down there. Double brought me to perform during his set. And I remember Miles was there. And once I got done performing, no one had ever seen me perform, and it went really well. Miles came to me. He was like, bro, I just want to thank you for warming the floor up for me. Thank you. Wow. And from that moment, we started working. And then Top Notch, our song Top Notch came to be. Yeah. And we found out that me and him, like, together, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
It was done. And I remember the phone call we had, man. The phone call we had was, he was looking for a producer, and he wasn't obviously wasn't the Miles that he is now, but he was like getting ready to jump off the trampoline. And I remember the Lord, we were on the phone, he was telling me what he needed. And I remember the Lord was like, serve him. Do whatever he needs. Now, I don't do that for everybody. Yeah. I don't, meaning, and I remember I told him, I said, Miles, look, I'm gonna take care of you. You know, and you know, it was an honest conversation. This is what I want, this is what you want. As long as we work together with this, me and you are out of here. And we locked in. I never charged him, never. And we locked in hours upon hours. And from there birthed what y'all see now with Miles and then me, you know. So I watch Miles go, boing, you know, and then I'm sitting there like, go crazy, bro, because I'm right behind you. And I think that's what people have to understand. Don't let ego get in the way.
Right.
Let your boys shine. Let your people shine, because if you connect it, you gonna shine too.
Yes.
So
that's a fact. First of all, I want you to apologize to me, because you know I always see breaking news and we post breaking news, and then you wind up doing that video of you getting arrested, and I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy. Like, pray for George.Rose. Like, yo. And then Mitch Durrell got on there and was like, bro, I think it's a joke. And I was like, bro, I didn't post you for like 2 days after that.
Look, man, I won't ever talk about it again. But I'll talk about that. Y'all, that situation, I was dang near, I was so stressed, man, because I realized I was in my artist bag, bro. I didn't, to be honest, man, I didn't know how much of an impact I had. In our space, I didn't know. Yeah. Did not know. And to me, I'm like, it was literally like innocent, like, hey, man, I think this would be dope, because the video with me and Few is in a courtroom.
Exactly.
You know, and I remember we were in Dallas at the time, and I looked at my wife. I was like, all right, I'm getting ready to post it. You know, I thought it to get around. I didn't, bruh.
But it was the role she played in it too.
And my wife played in it.
Right.
You know,
this is George's wife. Like, yeah.
And you know, and as soon as I hit the button, bro, I mean, I was getting prayer requests. Like, bro, like, listen, my church, I had people from my church mad. My family was freaking out. Jared, oh man, big dogs in the industry was hitting my line, like, big dogs, like, you good?
Like, what can we do to,
Yeah. Man, I had people trying to figure out how to drive to Kentucky to come get me. And I immediately looked at wife, and we was just like, dang, you know. And so I took it down. And a lot of people were like, you should have kept it going.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see how much we can get out of this. Bail money, donations. Whatever we can do. All right.
Look, man, my spirit was grieving because I'm not a liar. I don't, and that's not me, man. I was causing confusion. I was causing panic with people, and that's not me. That you know, and so I took it down. I mean, it did its job. The whole point was to get everybody to watch, but it wasn't to trick people. I was hoping that people would like, oh, this is a rollout. That's why I posted the joint with me and Portia and Few coming out of the courtroom, like, soon after, you know. So yeah. you know.
Yeah, nah, that's yeah, that was crazy. Like I saw it, I turned to it and I was like, yo, this is crazy. Let me hurry up. You know, a lot of times I try to post when I have the time, but this was like a stop what I'm doing immediately. Let me make sure that we get this out.
As soon as I saw y'all repost it, I shut it down because I'm like, I didn't know, because it was getting big. Like, I mean, outlets was starting to catch. I was like, no, you know. and I told my video guy, I said, dude, we did our job too well. We did it too well. Like, we, you know, and so, like I said, there was fans that was upset at me. And I personally reached out to them because I care about people who rock with me. So I reached out to them. I tried to mend. Mitch was one. Appreciate him, but I appreciate him for his honesty. You know, he gave me a view that I wasn't thinking. I'm a black man and you know, white.
That was the thing. It was the timing of the whole thing. Yeah,
and I was not thinking that, man. But once they put it in perspective, it was like, you know what? You're right. I didn't think, you know, and like I said, I found out, and I don't mean to sound arrogant or anything. I found out where my place was in our space. I'm not saying that I'm big or anything, but that my name is holding some weight where people are literally watching, and you know, so, you know, hey, and wife had to calm me down, bro, because I was freaking out. I had to have big dogs talk me down. You know, I was guilty, you know, but
nah, man, don't be. I mean, but that's that. That's what artists don't. But that's what artists don't talk about is that line. You know, one of the things, I'm a big wrestling fan, and one of the things that they said that they love to do was blur the line of what they did in the ring versus reality. When you can blur that line, that is the greatest piece of art. And so when we think about these rappers in the mainstream and we believe a lot of what they do, now a lot of people are like, man, you know, they really don't do that. They can't do, but we really do believe it. But yet we're still shocked when somebody like Young Thug actually gets locked up for doing exactly what he said.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So at the end of the day, I mean, you did a great job in that fact. But now you know, so maybe, you know, I hate that you would have to switch the way you pushed it, but I mean, with the timing, it makes sense.
Yes, definitely things that I would do different if I could go back and do it different. But it was from I didn't mean to cause what I did, and y'all, I went live. Bro, that was the most people I had on my live ever. Bro, as soon as everybody like, bing, 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 bing. I mean, bro,
that's how it go.
You know, hey, they only care about the BS. A lot of unfortunate, you know, it's unfortunate, but a lot of times, a lot of people only care about the BS. So something like that, it's unfortunate that something like that would cause a lot of eyes, you know, to come your way. Yeah. But, you know, sometimes even bad press is good press. So
at least the video did it justice. And people, once they saw the video, now I feel like if the video was mediocre, it would have been like, bruh, how was the rollout better than the video? You know,
right?
And, so I feel like the video really was like, oh, okay, you know, and you know, shout out to Few, you know.
That Alive record is crazy. So since we are on it, you just released your debut album, Anointed. And it's crazy to even say that this is your debut because you have a lot of singles out there. Again, for you to not just get on the Reach Records playlist, but to actually get production on the Reach Records playlist is crazy. That Lunch Table record is really, really dope, for real. What was the reception like when was it like a breath of fresh air, like a weight lifted? Did people accept it the way you wanted to? Like, talk about that.
Are you talking about with Alive?
No. With the Anointed album, period.
Oh, with the Anointed, man, y'all, I have gotten the greatest feedback from that album. And that album was 2 to 3 years in the making. And I made some of those songs like 2 years ago. And I knew there were certain songs that were so special to me. I wanted to show you guys who George.Rose is. A lot of times people had heard me on features, production, but I wanted to give y'all, this is me. this is what I do. And from family members to new fans, I'll go places, people bring up the album. Yeah, man, I've gotten great feedback.
Yeah, so man. Oh, go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, after serving all these people, getting into wanting to release your own work of art as an artist, what made you say, okay, the time is now?
So, I was always big on, I learned it's all about momentum. And I wasn't going to release an album to probably like 2 more years down the road, because I'm like, the only reason why is because I wanted to be at the height.
Right.
And in today's, you don't really want to just release an album. You want to release, you just want to keep releasing singles, like because it's such a they don't care. I mean,
they don't digest it. It's a let me get it on my taste buds real quick, and then that's it.
Yeah, let me, so that's what that's what the industry is telling you to do, single. So to me, I'm like, let me just keep dropping singles until I get like a big look or a big situation or something like that. But I really felt the Holy Spirit lead me, and Miles really helped me to help me spark that. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not? I feel like I've gotten a lot of eyes on me, and I have had years of momentum. And yeah, man. And I just wanted to give people me. That was it.
Right. It's crazy that you said that, because looking at it and I'm seeing, this is my debut album is dropping, and I'm like, ain't no way. Yeah. I was like, this ain't no way. This is the debut album.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Because of the years that the couple years that you've been rising within the ranks and all the singles that you've been releasing. Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, ain't no way this is the debut project. So that's just mad wild to me that you say that's that connection there. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, man. So your biggest inspirations in music, because one thing that I can say about you is that it's really hard for me to say, okay, we have this person in mainstream. That's who I could say that George.Rose kind of takes from. So since I can't do it, who are some of your biggest inspirations in music? May not just be mainstream and CHH, gospel, what have you. Who are some of your biggest inspirations?
Michael Jackson, of course. Michael, because I dance. The Weeknd.
Okay.
Now we talking about R&B artist Weeknd or pop star Weeknd?
Both.
Which one? Both. We talking about? All right.
Both. House of Balloons Weeknd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then Don Toliver is one of my new favorites.
Dude,
and
he kind of toxic, but
yeah. Of course,
but his sound, his tone is different. Yeah. It's different,
Don, and then of course, Chris Breezy. He the GOAT. He'll go. He is. He is.
Like, facts.
Just on time alone, So Chris, and I think I'm trying to see who else. I mean, that's pretty much them. And of course, the Christian hip hop. I mean, Cray, of course, Cray.
Is he to go to you? Is Cray to go to you?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, hey man, I just gotta check.
No,
some people
we gotta bet. No, I mean,
it's
like to me, it's hard to place the GOAT on one person in our space. Like, if you ask me who are the GOATs,
that's the easy answer. You could do that.
It's Cray and Bizzle to me. Like, those two have produced.
I hate the fact that Bizzle doesn't get mentioned enough in the GOAT space. I really do. Of course, I believe that Cray is the GOAT, but I do kind of hate that because Bizzle done did some work out here.
Bizzle, man, like, first of all, Bizzle helped put me on. Like, Bizzle, like, and I know God did this for a reason, but we didn't get it recorded. Me and Miles did a show with Dayton and Bizzle in Atlanta. This was last year. And I remember Bizzle brought me and Miles out, and Bizzle basically co-signed me and Miles. He was like, these are the next. these two, you know, are the next.
Yeah.
And so for Bizzle to do that for me, that's, you know, for me, that's GOAT status already, because he's looking at the new, you know. And of course, Bizzle
go crazy.
bar for bar.
Yeah. Bizzle go crazy.
Bizzle, man, and then Cray. It's like two. They're let me say this. They're both taking care of two spaces that we need filled.
That's a fact. Fact.
They're taking care of two spaces that we need filled.
Well, and that's the reason why. I'll go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say. So when we talk about singing and rapping, we know that you're one of the best doing that right now. Like I have a hard time deciding on what you do better. Was there ever a point where you thought to yourself, maybe I need to stick to just this in terms of rapping and singing and not do the other one so much? Is there ever a struggle with that?
So I worked hard on my voice for years and finding me. And then I worked on my rapping as well. And really, like, Scooty has helped me to become a better rapper. Big Breeze, like, that's like, those are my guys. You know, as you can see, we all came up in the same.
Yeah.
So we're both we're always sitting in each other's songs. Breeze called me, hey, check this out. I'm calling Breeze. What you think? Was it trash? Yeah, bro, it was a little trash. Because that's what we do for each other. We are honest, because we're trying to sharpen each other, you know. So my guys really helped me to become a better rapper, you know. Was it Breeze? I think it was Breeze and Scooty told me, this is like a year ago. It's like, bro, if you can like get your like verses like top tier, you'll be unstoppable. And from there, I started like working on the verses, you know. So
oh yeah, I was a bad man. I used to be Robin, you know. Let's
go.
That's hard.
I caught the board. You feel me?
Look,
I do my paperwork. I do my homework.
Can I be honest? I really found out that I could really rap with the Rapzilla freshman cipher.
Okay.
I had never done anything like that, but y'all, I spent 2 weeks on that.
Wow. He was trying to say he didn't want no designer XXL freshman. No,
bro. No.
He was trying to make sure.
Because people knew me, like I sang and stuff. I'm like, if we gonna come out here, like George.Rose gonna come correct, you know, and it was my beat too. Nah.
Right. But is that kind of what you do? Like, because it seems like you love producing. So is that kind of what you do? Like, yo, if I'm gonna be a part of this in any aspect, like, yo, I would love to produce the record. Like, is that kind of how you go in?
For the most part, like everything I've landed with Reach is production and you know, hooks, and you know, shout out to Reach, love Reach. One of the greatest on earth. Shout out to Ace. Ace has always been locked in with me.
Ace is a mastermind, like, for real. You know, Ace is a creative genius. Like, Ace is crazy.
He's the responsible for 70 Degrees as far as like putting the plays together.
That was a smash. 70 Degrees was a smash.
Man, that was a
70 Degrees was a smash.
That was a moment. That was a moment for me and Miles and Portia. That was a moment for all, because that song and video helped us all three just get booked, basically. Like, you know, definitely, like, you know. At that point, I'm glad to hear you say that, because a lot of people, you know, they're starting to look at it like, well, is it worth it to be on the Reach playlist? And me and my brother literally just talked about this yesterday. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Looking at these music videos, if they weren't on the Reach channel, you would not know that it was a Reach project. Yeah.
Like, and I think that is so dope, because you guys get to say that's ours. Like, we use the Reach platform, but that is ours.
Yeah. And Reach is doing such a great job at like partnering with us. So yeah, they have done nothing but great things. So shout out to Reach. Shout out.
So man, you got collabs with a bunch of people, out in this space, especially the people that came up with you. What is your goal looking forward? Like, who are you looking to mess with that you haven't already dealt with?
Man, that's tough. Andy.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah, us too. Andy, give us a call, please.
Andy, man, has always been one of my favorites, man. And Andy, of course, Cray,
of course,
Bizzle, and so. But as of right now, I'm just really just focusing on the George.Rose brand and right now.
So what? So are we? I mean, I know we're gonna let this Anointed record sit for a little bit, but are we already in the mode because of the reception of Anointed? Are we already kind of in the mode like, okay, album number 2 around the corner? Are we gonna let this breathe? We're gonna work it a little bit. Kind of what are we thinking on that?
We're gonna work it. There will be new music coming, but we're gonna work it. I think that's a big issue of what happens, because to be honest, it's reaching in our space, but I'm thinking bigger. Like I need Charlemagne. I need them to hear this.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about my music. I'm a bridge. That's what I'm called to do, is to be a bridge. Meaning, like I like Toby Nwigwe. I love Toby because he's a bridge. Now he's gonna get hated on by our people, Christians, because a lot of times they don't understand, and it's not for them to understand. If God told you to go do a certain thing, go do what you need to do. But my heart, that's why my music is catchy. Non-Christians are rocking with me. People be like, bro, this is Christian, and not in they're like, I can't believe this is Christian. I can't believe I'm listening to clean music right now, bro. You go hard. You didn't have to cuss. You didn't have to, and you talking about Jesus. So to me, that's the win right there, man.
Jay is out. Okay, I guess I'll continue this. Yo, one of the things that really made me realize, like, yo, I gotta have more of this is your song with Mike Teasy.
Oh man,
easily. So I'm like, I had to come on here and ask, like, yo, like, are we ever gonna get a full length project or some type of something with that?
With me and Mike.
With you and Mike Teasy,
I mean, Mike is another like one of my bros, man. Of course, y'all are always going to get music from me and him, and possibly me and him are finding out we do really well together, like sonically, musically. He's another one that. So I'm not opposed. Just has to be kind of the right timing.
Yeah, y'all was definitely bouncing off of each other well. And when I seen that, I was like, man, I gotta have more of Mike Teasy and George.Rose. Because
I'm glad to hear that. Like I'm glad to hear that. I know Mike will be too.
Absolutely, yeah. That joint was crazy,
man.
Yeah, man. So George.Rose, like I said, man, it's an honor to even have you here, bro. To see kind of where you have came to know where you came from, because I had no idea about your background, bro. I had no idea that you worked on our theme song. Let's start there, right? Or go back to that.
That's crazy.
We had no idea, man. And the reason why I asked where you was from, because I do remember when me and Eldewan talked, he was like, yeah, I'm a shoot it to my boy in Texas, whoop the woo, we gonna work. And I mean, I was like, oh, okay. And I just left it. I just left it at that, because I didn't know that was you.
Yeah. And at the time, no one knew who I was, and I was still, I was working, and I'm a worker, man. Like I'm a worker, and for me, I'm working on 10 things, because one of them gonna hit. Not all of them gonna hit.
Yeah.
But some gonna hit.
Yeah, for real, man. So what is your goal? I understand that you say that you're a bridge, but ultimately, what is that goal? Do you want to see yourself on the BET Hip Hop Awards, or are you okay with being at the Doves? Do you want to see, you know what I'm saying? And the Doves is not nothing to joke at.
I want all of
you know what I mean?
I want all of it. As far as God wants me to go, I want all of it. Why would you want to keep Jesus in a church? Why?
Dang, that's
Why?
deep.
And I don't.
No, that's deep.
People gonna probably. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
Why would I just scream and tell people about Jesus in the pulpit? What? Why? I want to be out there with the Drakes. I want to be in the studio producing. I want to be with them, because they're 9 times out of 10, they're never going to get to step into a church. Yeah, right. Do y'all know how much work happens when someone like okay, so y'all know Shepherd. That's my brother, Shepherd.
Yeah. Hey,
he
killing out here.
You know, he working with Ace Hood. He got a song with Ace Hood out. People don't know what's going on behind the scenes. People don't know.
Right.
And so that's where my heart has always been, to get behind in the studios with Chris Brown, because that's where you build.
Right.
With your producers.
But a lot of people, but that is what has happened to Christian hip hop, right? A lot of people come and they say they want to be that bridge. And Kyle said something that I thought was pretty dope. He said that bridge goes both ways. So how do you stay once you get there? How do you stay that George.Rose, that Christian hip hop George.Rose, or do you kind of fall into?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, the message never changes. That's what nothing changes. I'm not leaving the church. I'm just going to put that work in out there as well. It's kind of like having a church home, having covering and being sent out. We all do it. We all got, people work normal jobs that ain't Christian. So it's like, and people will never step into a church.
Yeah, and Minio said it best. My life is the only Bible that people has ever seen. It is right, but these are going to be the concerns.
Of course.
Did anybody warn you before you got into Christian hip hop? Did anybody try to come to you and be like, yo, if you ever, if you start out like this and you go this way, or did they say, man, it's going to be some fans that, they take Christian hip hop pretty seriously? Like, did you ever kind of get that guidance at all?
No, I didn't. I just came in guns, because I moved to the beat of my own drum, in a sense. Like, I already know what God said, so I'm not, and not to be insensitive to people, but I'm not worried about what God had already gave me the green light. So if you see me doing it, it's because I'm supposed to. And if you have an issue with it, you can
talk to your manager.
Hey, or you can, feel free to always reach out, air your grievances out, and I'm always open for people to, if you feel like you see something wrong, I'm not ever above approach, ever.
Man, don't say that.
I'm not a super. To me, I'm not a star. I'm not acting like nothing don't stink, So.
But the fans, that's one of the biggest issues, right? Them believing that they are your accountability partner. Them believing that they have to hold you to a certain standard. But I think that's the beauty of Christian hip hop. Parrish just released his project, Starter Kit, and I thought it was dope because everybody that he featured on there wasn't Christian hip hop artists. Outside of Eli Montana might have been Christian hip hop adjacent, but outside of that, like, these were real people that he was a fan of their music, and they produced a great product where he was able to be himself. And I can see you doing that exact same thing, man. Your music, like you said, is very catchy. Anybody can vibe to it. It ain't like you're not talking about God in your music. The name of your album was called Anointed. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the goal, is to never switch up to doing what they're doing, but to show people like this, it go hard. Like, we go hard. Like, we go hard.
Facts.
So
yeah, man. Well, I do want to thank you for joining us today, man.
Of course.
We have had a blast, man. I have enjoyed every single moment of it. Like I said, I can't wait to see what you have in store. This takeoff for you was really quick, man. I mean, it really was.
Thank you.
And I do believe that you got a dope place here, man. Just don't show you getting arrested no more, man.
I won't, bro. If I do, I just keep it on the low, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Y'all already know who it is, what it is, and what we do. Oh, wait, what?
No, I was just gonna say it's kind of crazy that he said that, like, when the crew catch it, I know it done got too far.
That's like, I'm telling you, when I saw, because I was waiting for y'all, boy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that means it's, as soon as I saw y'all share, I said, yep. I said, Emily, we gotta delete it. It
gotta go.
Yeah, it was popping as soon as I knew y'all, man. So
yeah, man, that was crazy. Yeah, man, you can't be out here making us look stupid. You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, man. It's your boy Jay.
And this is Chris.
And it's song.
And check this out. You don't even need an exclusive when you got the exclusive. You feel me?
Exclusive. That was your echo, bro.
Exclusive.